What's up, guys? Nick Whalen here from RotoWire, back with another video. We're talking fantasy basketball. We're going to highlight 5 players who have been among the biggest risers in all of fantasy over the last month. You know, guys who have been starters, certainly rosterable players throughout the season, but have really taken it to another level. We got some players, basically playing at a first-round level over the last several weeks. So we'll highlight those. We'll go through our list. We got to start with Amen Thompson, right? I mean, this almost goes without saying. And I felt like Amen Thompson had his official national coming out party against Boston this past week. I mean, those of us in the fantasy world, we've known about this for a while. We've known about the per minute numbers, but I did not know Amen Thompson had that kind of game in him. I mean, that was future superstar type of stuff. I mean, taking Jaylen Brown for the game winner, the ball just ending up in his hands in that spot, I think says a lot about how much the Rockets trust him. Just incredible improvement on his end this season. So you look at the last month for Amen Thompson, 18.5 points, 10.5 rebounds, almost 11 rebounds, actually, 4.3 assists, 2.3 steals, 1.2 blocks, 57% from the field. Now, obviously, he's not going to give you much from 3. That's still very much a work in progress, but I think the mid-range jumper is starting to look better, and the free throw shooting has even been palatable, 73%, and he gets to the line enough that definitely matters. That's really good for a guy who, we didn't know if he was going to shoot 55% at the line. If he can hang in the mid 70s, that is fine for our purposes in year 2. He's averaging 39 minutes per game in that aforementioned sample. How sustainable is that going to be? We'll find out. I mean, obviously the takeoff for Amen Thompson has completely coincided with Jabari Smith's injury, and he won't be back until after the All-Star break. Even once he's back, I don't know if he's getting that starting spot back. I think this might be it. I think Amen Thompson has played too well, and you almost have to keep him out there, but Jabari Smith is still going to be in the rotation. Are we still going to see Amen playing 38, 39, 40 minutes every night? Maybe not. I think he'll still be in the 30s, but you're going to have to sacrifice somewhere to get Jabari back in. Could also see the Rockets shake things up at the deadline. Obviously Amen himself feels like he's off the table, but they have a lot of pieces. They've been looking to condense, I think, for a while. So if the right deal comes up, maybe they send out Jabari Smith. Maybe they send out Tari Eason, and that ends up helping Amen Thompson. Either way, Amen Thompson should be safe. Maybe he's not pushing 40 minutes every night once Jabari Smith is back, but I don't know if there's a more fun player to roster right now in all of fantasy basketball than Amen Thompson, especially in dynasty leagues. Next on our list, Trey Murphy of the New Orleans Pelicans. He's finally healthy for an extended stretch after missing time to begin the year. He has been a first-round value over the last month in 9 category leagues. And for one, Trey Murphy does not turn the ball over. He actually led the NBA with the lowest turnover rate in the league last season. But more importantly, beyond that, he's putting up 24 points, 6.5 rebounds, almost 4 assists, 2.5 combined steals and blocks over the last month. And the assists are key here. Like we know Murphy can shoot. We know he can score. We know he can rebound. He's got some size, but he's up to almost a 14% assist rate, easily the highest of his career. Not really something that was a big part of his game coming out of Virginia. And yeah, he's developed it over the last couple of years, but has really gone to a different level this season. I think what's even more encouraging if you're holding Trey Murphy is that the shooting has not even been that good. I mean, he's hitting just under 34% of his threes. That's lower than a season-long number. If we're talking about that recent sample, he shot 38% from 3 last year, 41% from 3 the year before. He's also getting to the free throw line 6 times per game and hitting at almost a 90% clip, so that's huge in cat leagues. Murphy is really developing into a borderline all-star caliber player right before our eyes, and unfortunately, the Pelicans have been so banged up and just generally bad that it's flying under the radar, but he's developing into a big-time piece for them going forward. Make sure you check out rotowire.com/try. You see it right there on the screen. You can get free access to everything on our site. And hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball YouTube channel. All right, got that out of the way. All right, next up on the list, Malik Monk of the Sacramento Kings. Really, since Monk came back from injury after Thanksgiving, he has been in the midst of the best stretch of his career by a wide margin. He put up a few huge games at the end of November, then moved into the starting lineup on a permanent basis to start December, and really has not looked back. I mean, he's now averaging north of 20 points per game for a 2-month span. And in the month of January, he's up to 22.5 points, almost 8 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 2.5 threes per game. On the year, he's also posting the lowest turnover rate of his career, really dating back to his rookie season when he barely played. In January, he's shooting 47% from the field. He's been hyper efficient at the rim, hyper efficient in the mid range. But like Trey Murphy, I mean, there's significant room for improvement here when it comes to the shooting numbers. He's not shooting it well by his standards, or really by any standards, from three. Over the last 15 games, Malik Monk hitting just 30% of his 7.5 attempts per game from downtown. He's been a 35, 36% guy the last couple years, was closer to 39, 40% when he was with the Hornets and the Lakers. So the efficiency, the scoring numbers, I think could get even better here. And obviously right now, all the focus in Sacramento is on De'Aaron Fox and the trade deadline. Really difficult to say how this is going to play out, how it could impact Malik Monk. I will say, as a fan, this is brutal, breaking up what, in my opinion, is like the coolest college duo of the last decade, but it is what it is. At least we got it for a couple years. Bottom line, though, Monk himself, I don't think he's going to get traded. You know, if they send Fox out, we'll see who they get back. Could be more of a young player, picks-based package. Maybe they do bring in another borderline star. But either way, I don't really see Monk being impacted all that much. You know, it's going to be hard to bring in somebody the caliber of Fox, the high-volume player that Fox is. So if anything, you know, maybe this could end up being a positive for him fantasy-wise. But the bottom line is, the way Malik Monk is playing, I think it makes it easier for Sacramento to end up parting ways with De'Aaron Fox, if that is what they end up doing. Next up, we got Ddeni Avdija of the Portland Trailblazers, and this has been an all-time turnaround. No question about that. I kind of thought we were going down maybe the Kuzma path with him early in the season. I was excited about Avdija coming into the year. He got off to a really rough start. Blazers rotation was a total mess. People were dropping Ddeni Avdija a few weeks into the year, and honestly, justifiably so. But hopefully you didn't do that. Hopefully you stuck it out, because last 15 games for Ddeni Avdija, 19.5 points, 8.2 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.7 threes, 52% from the field. He is yet another player who's not even shooting it all that well. 33% from deep in that 15-game sample, but he has become a no-brainer starter every week. I mean, it's tough to do this for this Portland team that has so many moving pieces on a game-to-game basis. Obviously, the Blazers season isn't going anywhere, but they went out of their way to acquire Ddeni Avdija this summer. I think they're going to let this ride, and if Portland were to deal someone like Jeremy Grant or DeAndre Ayton at the deadline, I think that could even end up helping Ddeni Avdija going forward. So he's a top 75 guy in 9-cat leagues over the last month. He has been turning the ball over a ton as well. So if you're punting turnovers or you play in an 8-cat league, he becomes a top 50 guy pretty quickly.